Meiosis is the reproduction of sex cells. Each division has two phases, meiosis I and meiosis II, and results in 4 daughter cells.
Meiosis I begins with a diploid sex cell.
The nuclear membrane begins to disappear, spindle fibers begin to form, and homologous chromosomes form homologous pairs. This is where crossing over occurs between homologous chromosomes. They exchange alleles randomly for genetic diversity. The nuclear membrane fully disappears and the spindle fibers connect to the homologous pair. The spindle fibers align the homologous pairs at the center of the cell. The spindle fibers shorten even further, pulling apart the homologous pair by the centromere. The homologous chromosomes are pulled to opposite poles of the cell. The cell begins to pull apart. The nuclear membrane begins to form, the cleavage furrow begins to form, and the spindle fibers disappear. After the nuclear membrane fully forms, cytokinesis occurs. The original diploid parent cells becomes 2 haploid daughter cells.
Meiosis II begins here. The nuclear membrane begins to disappear and spindle fibers begin to form. After the nuclear membrane fully disappears, the spindle fibers attach to each of the duplicated chromosomes' centromeres. The spindle fibers align the duplicated chromosomes at the center of the cell.
The sister chromatids get pulled apart at the centromere, and each chromosome travels to its respectful side of the cell. A cleavage furrow forms, the nuclear membrane begins to form, and spindle fibers disappear.
After the nuclear membranes are fully formed, cytokinesis occurs, and 4 daughter cells are created as a result. Independent assortment, as well as crossing over, as we mentioned previously, contributes to genetic diversity. Our cell has 8 different combinations that can occur from independent assortment alone. The equation we used was 2 to the nth power, where n equals the haploid number. Because our haploid number was 3, 2 to the 3rd power equals 8 different combinations. Non-disjunction is an error that occurs in meiosis in which sister chromatids or pairs of homologous chromosomes don't separate as they usually would. One example of this is Klinefelter syndrome, in which a person has at least 2 or more X chromosomes. This is an example of what would usually occur in meiosis, where each of the daughter cells has 1 chromosome. In this example of Klinefelter syndrome, the pair of homologous chromosomes failed to separate during meiosis I. What resulted was 2 cells with duplicated chromosomes and 2 cells with no chromosomes. When a cell with the duplicated chromosomes and a cell with the Y chromosome form a zygote, there would be 2 X and 1 Y chromosome instead of a normal 1 X and 1 Y chromosome.